Okay, I have made a list of notes and I think I am ready to go into some constructive criticism of the video. First thing I must say is please reduce the volume of the intro. The second the intro comes on, my first instinct is, damn, that is fucking loud, and I reduce the volume. But then when the intro stops and you start talking, you are so soft, so I have to increase the volume again, and it's very annoying. Make the volumes relative to each other a bit better. Mute it slightly, the intro. It's very jarring. It's very jarring. I think it just set me up for a bad mood the entire video. I think that's very important that you don't do that. Okay, so first point. Give context as to why you're making the video. What does the topic, which is in this case theatre, mean to you? Why does it mean that to you? What is the impetus that you have for starting this video? I think you can go something like, oh, my latest production just ended and it seemed like a perfect time to talk about it. Okay? And then also talk about who the video is for. Okay? Is it for people who are interested in theatre but never done it, or people who have already done it but are living in other countries and are coming to the US? Then I think you can segment your arguments very, segment your questions and your answers very directed. Who am I answering this question to? Because right now it gets convoluted. For all of your questions that you have, I think the arguments can be strengthened. So your first question is why I started theatre. And you talk about your childhood, which is important, obviously, but I think it's more important that you talk first about how you discovered theatre, how you first experienced theatre. And then you can say, oh, in hindsight, actually I've been doing theatre my whole life because when I was young, I did this and this and this. And it just fell into place that theatre is the place for me, and I find that this is how I can creatively express myself. And you can also talk about how you've tried singing and dancing. This is an aside, not necessary, but you can also talk about how you've tried singing and dancing and why, to you, they don't match up to theatre for you. That leads into the second question, which is why you should start theatre. And the main thing, I think, is that you're going for creative expression. Okay, good. Creative expression is a good angle to go about why you should start theatre. But then it becomes a question of what differentiates theatre from singing and dancing. And then you can elaborate more on your own experience doing singing, doing dancing, and how theatre differentiates itself from the other performing arts. So, like for example, song is for those who are musically inclined, dance is for those who need to move to express themselves, but theatre is another beast entirely, and you need to be able to capture that. I think the question about in answering the question of what are the problems you face as an international student trying to do theatre in America is a very pertinent question. It's a very interesting question, but I think the argument of accent that you go into is not appropriate for it. So I think this question becomes directed at those who are already doing theatre but are interested to know how it's like in the US, and then it becomes a question of resources. So from my perspective, it becomes, I know what theatre is like in Singapore. Okay, theatre has this, but I know that other CCAs have a lot more budget than theatre. I know they have coaches, I know they have training. How does theatre in the US compare? What are the resources available to theatre in the US, in US colleges? And then that's when you can go into, oh, there are lots of people who are willing to teach you, you just have to be interested in learning, you just have to have the passion for it. And that's when you can also talk about thanking all of these people who have taught you so much. And finally, the third question I think is solid. Why do you stay in theatre? So the community is strong, acceptance, good reason, expressions, good reason, and then